What's up, YouTube? Timmy's here. Now, since March pretty much is over, lots of really interesting films I got to see in March. Now, majority of the films that is in my list technically are February releases, but I was a little late to the party and didn't really see some of them until March. So I'm interpreting them in my March list because majority of them did go to VOD in March, so they technically do count. But here is of course my March 2025 movie ranking. Obviously, where I talk about from the worst movies I saw in March and my favorites. So here it is. I pretty much saw about 35 films in March, which a pretty interesting record right there. Anyway, number 35, the worst movie I saw in the month of March, In the Lost Lands, directed by almost keep wanting to call him Paul Thomas Anderson, Paul W.S. Anderson, which Paul Thomas Anderson is a better director. Paul W.S. Anderson, now he did do Mortal Kombat, which I have a little soft spot for. Obviously, he did the Resident Evil movies, but his career lately, like that Monster Hunter movie he did before, and of course here you got In the Lost Lands, based on a book by George R. R. Martin. It's of course where Mila Jovovich plays Alice, who's who is sent by this queen to who is of course sent to the ghostly wilderness of the Lost Lands in search of a magical power, where the sorceress and her guide, the Drifter boys, must outwit and fight man and demon. This movie is one of the worst films I saw this year. People are talking, smack about Snow White, saying that's one of the worst of this year, and whatever. People who are saying that clearly haven't watched In the Lost Lands. In the Lost Lands is one of the worst things you'll see this year. Obviously, Dream Monster so far. Yeah, In the Lost Lands one is, as of right now, it's the worst. It's so terrible, so bad. The performances by Mila Jovovich, who I normally do quite like. Of course, you got Dave Bautista, who you guys know me. I'm a fan of Dave Bautista. I think this dude's always amazing. I really hope he continues more serious acting some days. If you guys haven't seen him in the last Showgirl, he actually had some decent acting chops in that. So I do hope he does some real acting one of these days. But we'll see. Maybe what Dwayne Johnson is doing with that Smashing Machine one of these days. But I don't know. All right, number 34 is one I was really excited for, but I became disappointed with it, and that is The Alternates. This is from the same writers of Goodfellas, directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, not Seinfeld, Levinson. I always keep getting him and the director of Men in Black mixed up for some reason. I don't know why, but Barry Levinson is of course the guy who gave us Bugsy, Rayman. Sad to say, he hasn't directed, other than HBO movies recent, he hasn't really directed a good film in years for quite some time. It's probably the last great movie he did that was the release was probably 2008's What Just Happened with Robert De Niro. I guess other stuff lately hasn't been the best, and The Alternates is no exception. I was so excited for this because you had Robert De Niro back in the gangster genre. I thought this could easily have been the next Goodfellas, but it was more in the line of Gotti than Goodfellas. Remember that Gotti movie with John Travolta, as John Gotti? This is the worst gangster movie I've seen since Gotti. It's so bad, so boring, terrible dialogue. Why did De Niro need to play two characters? Beyond me. It's just abysmal. And of course it did flop, so yeah. Oh, speaking of Gotti, by the way, number 33 is High Rollers, starring John Travolta. Of course, a sequel to Cash Out that got released last year. This of course is where John Travolta plays his master thief who pulls off a dangerous casino heist when his nemesis kidnaps his lover, played by Gina Gershon. By the way, Gina Gershon is in her 50s, I believe. That woman does not age at all. Gina Gershon still looks great, but I've always had a thing for Gina Gershon ever since I saw her in the movie Bound. Who remembers her in Bound? With Jennifer Tilly, Yeah, I used to watch Bound around a time when I was probably not supposed to be watching those type of films, but anyway. Uh, and John Travolta, man, he needs to come back. I don't know what Quentin Tarantino's next film's gonna be. All I know is whatever his next film is, I hope he somehow talks John Travolta in starring. He needs a Pulp Fiction like comeback again. His stuff lately hasn't been the great. Hasn't been great lately. I mean, some of these home video stuff he's been doing, I don't know what's going on with his career, but this thing was just abysmal. So, can't recommend that one at all. All right. Number 32 is Tyler Perry's Duplicity. Now, of course, it stars Kat Graham, Megan Tandy, Ron Rico Lee, and it's about like this high-powered attorney, Molly, who faces her most personal case, um, discovering the truth behind the murder of her her best friend's husband. And of course, at the hands of police here. I was actually interested in this because I thought the trailer actually did look intriguing. I feel like this probably could have been maybe one of Tyler Perry's better films in recent years. No way. It literally this movie is probably worse than Mea Culpa. It's such a shame too because I'm a fan of Tyler Perry. I think Tyler Perry is awesome. Whether it's like the Medea movies, I actually don't mind his House of Pain shows, but I feel like he does not do drama too well. I mean, he actually does great with comedy with the Medea movies, but drama, I don't know. Lately with drama, he hasn't really done it the best lately. Like there are some dramas he did that I quite enjoyed. Like that 6 9 was pretty decent. For Color Girls was a good one, but this one just didn't do anything for me. Really felt like like a bigger budget Tubi movie. You guys ever seen like those Tubi originals? Really feels more like a Tubi film here, but yeah, it's a shame too because I like Cat Graham. I like some of the other cast members, but yeah, sad to say, I'll just say skip this and just wait for the next Medea movie because Medea is where it's at. Anyway, number 31 is The Electric State. This is another one I had some hopes with. I love the Russo brothers. I even enjoyed his movies Cherry and The Gray Man. So I actually had despite the reviews for this not being good, I still had some high hopes for this one. Probably one of the most disappointing films I've seen this year. I love the cast too. You got Chris Pratt, Millie Bobby Brown. I like Ke Quan, who by the way really needs a new agent. Jason Alexander got some great cast members, but this thing just didn't. It didn't do anything for me. The effects was terrible. The dialogue was poorly bad. I mean, now I'm actually still excited for Doomsday, despite the movie not being so good. But because I feel like maybe the Russo brothers works better with Kevin Feige, but we'll see. All right, number 30 is one that many people probably never even heard of. Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Death and Porridge. That's a real movie, by the way. Of course, this is the public domain three Goldilocks and Three Bears ones. Where of course a group of friends in a getaway must fight for their lives against this mass versions of fairy tale characters. And of course, you got a girl dressed as Goldilocks and obviously her three bears. It's I don't mind these public domain horror films. I'm actually looking forward to see the Mickey Mouse one. The Screamboat. I did not mind like let's say the Winnie the Pooh ones, but when they work to me, they actually work. And this one didn't work. Some of the kills was okay, I guess, but the acting was terrible. The dialogue, I had no idea what the heck was going on with this thing. Say what you want about the Blood and Honey movies, at least they had some fun aspects to them, but this one was not even all that fun. But all right, number 29 is Women in the Yard. Now, of course, I just saw this past week. It's horrible. I was really interested in this because I like director John Collet-Serra. I'm obviously biased because I worked with him when I was an extra for Runner Night. But take that aside, I still think this guy is great. I'm a fan of his House of Wax remake. He gave us Orphan. His Liam Neeson movies like Runner Night, which is the one I was an extra for. Unknown. I mean, he's done some really cool stuff before. This is probably the worst movie he's ever put out. Of course, Danielle Deadwire, who I coming off of like great performances until the piano lesson, which I think she should have got Oscar nominations for both of them, but that's a topic for another time. She was just in Carry On, which was also directed by Sarah. I had some hopes for this because that alone, it was boring. The ending was terrible. I heard that's supposed to be like, that wasn't supposed to be the full ending. They kind of messed up with the ending. I don't know, but what I know is I saw what it was, and it's a terrible one. So, uh, number 28 is Opus. Now, another one I had some hopes with. Of course, this is A24, who I normally do like A24 horror movies. Every time A24 does a film that once in a while has a stinker. Like last year was The Front Room. The following year was, of course, Beau's Afraid. And this year is Opus. It's a shame, too, because I like Io DeBerry. I like John Malkovich. You had Amber Midthunder was in this. They really wasted her. They could have gave her more to do here, but at least I saw another film with her on the same day, so, yeah. But still, this is just a horrible mess. It's completely boring. It's, not even all that scary. It's just a mess. Like, some of the characters are usually all a little cringy too. It's just, yeah, it's a shame. That was terrible. But hey, A24 has better looking horror films, so hopefully they'll be better with it. All right, number 27 is another film I had some interest in because of the director, and that is Holland. And no, this has nothing to do with Tom Holland. Holland is, of course, the director of Fresh, Mimi Cave, starring Nicole Kidman, who plays like this teacher whose life with her husband in Holland, Michigan, tumbles into a twisted tale when she and her colleague become suspicious of a secret. I was interested in this because I like Nicole Kidman. Gail Garcia Bernal is in this. Jude Hill, who was good in Belfast. Matthew McFadden, coming off of Deadpool Wolverine. You had some really great cast members in this, but it was just not great. I mean, terrible twists and turns around. Really felt like it could easily have been a TV show rather than a movie. It really did feel like it could literally just been a limited series. But yeah, it's just nothing about it was all that fascinating. The script was terrible. Again, really boring to say the least. So I can't really recommend this one. All right, number 26. Now, this one technically was a February release, but I didn't really see it until March. So that is The Unbreakable Boy. Starring Zachary. Yeah, Zachary Levi. I almost keep wanting to call him Zachary Quino, but it's Zachary Levi, who I'm losing a little respect for. I used to love Zachary Levi with because of Shazam, Chuck. Liked seeing him in the Alvin and Chipmunk sequel, but lately he's been saying like, I'm not going into any details, but I just lost a few respects for him. But take the politics aside and take his wherever he is aside. This one was just terrible. I mean, what is it with Zachary Levi's career lately, other than the obvious reasons? I mean, between this, Harold, and The Purple Crayon, I mean, I did not mind Shazam Fury of the Gods, but I admit it was a step down from the first film. Uh, yeah, and this is, of course, I mean, if you guys don't know, it's where, like, Scott and Tess Lorette learn that their son, Austin, is both autistic and has a brittle bone disease, and they worry that their son about their son's future. And Scott's growing faith and Austin's incredible spirit find joy, gratitude, and courage even in the most troubling time. This thing was just not so good. I mean, it really felt a little too offensive too at times as well. It was a little boring too. I mean, it's a shame too because the company, I forgot the name of the company, not Lionsgate. The faith-based company, I think it's called Kingdom Story or something like that. They've actually put out some cool stuff. They did that. This is actually from the same director of that Ordinary Angels, which I enjoyed last year. That was actually a pretty good one. With Alan Richardson, Hilary Swank. Although, in his defense, he probably did this before Ordinary Angels, but still, that was actually a better film. I'm sure I only can imagine part two would be better. But this just wasn't all that good. It was a little preachy at times. I did not really care much for the characters at all. It's just didn't do anything for me. I mean, I don't like. I mean, I don't mind movies about people with autism. Like one of my favorite shows in recent years was The Good Doctor, and the whole show is centering around him. But when it's done right, it could be pretty good. And this one definitely wasn't it. All right. Coming in at number 25 is Bloat. Now, Bloat, of course, actually stars the guy who played Gordon in on the show Gotham, Benjamin what's his name again? Yeah, Ben McKenzie, who you might know from the OC fame. And it's more like after like a near death drowning accident, this young kid's family is horrified to discover he has like become possessed. And the whole movie is very bit like that movie Unfriended. Remember the film that took place like over the webcam and stuff like that. The whole movie pretty much takes place on a webcam. Yeah, of course we're seeing like him doing messages and some creepy aspects. Unfriended did it far better. But this one definitely wasn't it. It was like not all that scary, pretty boring at times. I mean, if you guys want to see a better movie like this, like a better screen movie, just go watch Unfriended. Watch the first Unfriended. You don't have to bother with the sequel, but this just really felt like, let's say, Unfriended mixed with The Exorcist. That's what I really got with it. But anyway, number 24 is Control Freak. Now, this is another one I was actually really interested in because I like Kelly Marie Tran. I like Miles Robbins. It had some good cast members in this. It was, of course, a Hulu original, so there's that. Where this motivational speaker, plodded by uncontrolled itch on her head, becomes infected with a parasite demon from her homeland. I actually thought the trailer looked pretty decent. Had a little bit of like David Cronenberg, the substance feel to it. But this thing just wasn't all that scary. Pretty boring at times. Didn't really make much sense throughout. It's a little disappointing. I mean, Hulu could make some pretty good horror films, but this was like that Mr. Crockett one they did last year. That was pretty cool. But not every time they hit out of the gate, and this was one of them. So, alright. Number 23 is Picture This. Now, this is another film I actually thought looked okay. Now, this, of course, stars Simone Ashley, who you might know from Bridgerton fame, After Star, Hero Finds Tiffin. Of course, this is where, like, Pia, who is, like, runs a failing photography studio in London. And, of course, she falls, like, for this other guy here. It's not really all that good. I mean, it's a shame, too, because Simone Ashley, probably one of the most gorgeous actresses in the business right now. She actually played her part okay, and her chemistry with Fiennes was good. I mean, Fiennes was far better in this than he was in the after movies, but I don't know, it just didn't really do much for me. It wasn't all that funny. Like, didn't really care for her much, so yeah. Alright, number 22 is another film I actually had some hopes for because I liked the director's previous film. Number 22 is, of course, Odessa. Now, of course, this is directed by Jeremy Jasper, who last directed the tragically underrated movie called Patty Cakes. If you guys have not watched Patty Cakes, which I guess you could say is like a female 8 Mile, go watch Patty Cakes. Really nice little film there. But anyway, this, of course, stars Sadie Sink, Regina Hall, who Regina Hall's look in this was really weird, but I love Regina Hall, so anytime she's in something, I'll definitely can't wait for the PTA movie she has coming. But of course, it is about a farm girl who is on an epic quest to recover a cherished family heirloom, and her like journey leads to like a strange and dangerous city when she meets her one true love. This also has Calvin Harrison Jr., Murray Bartlett. This was this was really disappointing. I mean, the music wasn't all that memorable. I mean, the music in the new Snow White film and Moana 2 is more memorable than this, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, I can definitely now see why this side released this thing straight to Hulu rather than theirs. I really did not see this movie possibly doing well in theirs. And it's a shame, too, because Sadie Sink was actually pretty good, but the story wasn't all that great. It was pretty boring at times. Felt pretty long than it should have. Not that good. All right. Number 21 is Plankton the movie. Now, this is far better than that terrible Sandy Cheeks movie. I actually saw I had fun time with it. The music was pretty decent. You know, I've always liked the Plankton character. I mean, I'm not really like the world's biggest SpongeBob guy. Like even as a kid, I was more of like a Fairy Odd Parents guy more than a SpongeBob guy, and even more of a Danny Phantom guy. But when I've episodes I have watched a few times, Squidward was always one of my favorite. Not Squidward, Plankton. I'm gonna say Plankton was always one of my faves. And Squidward is also good. Who doesn't love Squidward, right? But yeah, I actually thought this was pretty fun, pretty entertaining, to say the least. Definitely a nice SpongeBob movie to hold us down until like the actual SpongeBob film comes out. You know, because there is a fourth SpongeBob movie coming out this December. But anyway, uh, number 20. Now, this is not a great film, but it's actually more like it is actually far better than the ones that I mentioned here. Popeye the Slayer Man, not Sailor Man, Slayer Man. This movie is far better than that terrible Popeye's Revenge. I meant it's not a great film, but it is actually a lot of fun. You know, a little more fun than that Goldilocks one I was just talking about. You know, I mean, the kills is. Let me just say, James A. Janice, who you might know from Dead Meat fame, he is good. Whenever he does this, he is going to have a field day with this film. He's probably going to have a lot of sponsors because, well, the gore stuff. Yeah, he's going to have to censor lots of the gore, but yeah, I mean, cannot wait to see him do the Popeye Slayer Man. There's also that Shiver Me Timbers out next month. I'll probably watch that. Um, but yeah, this is actually a lot of fun. I mean, the characters aren't likable, the performances aren't great, but come on, when I go to these movies, I don't expect good acting, you know. But yeah, and of course, I'm a little biased because one of the actresses in it actually responded to my Instagram comments, so probably a little biased with that one. But it's still a pretty fun one, to say the least. All right, number 19 is Chaos: The Massacres. Now, this is, of course, a documentary that explores the massacres from 1969, and I just thought it was a pretty decent documentary. I mean, you mostly hear like footage from Charles Manson and see like unused footage, like unseen footage from his interviews, and that guy was nuts. He was completely nuts. I mean, you could even see in interviews how nutty this guy was, and yeah, he was really unhinged. But we've seen so many Manson stories out there, so. All right, number 18. Technically, this premiered on Lifetime last month, but I did not really watch until until March. Uh, Number 18. I'm going with Can You Feel the Beat? The Lisa story. Now, of course, this is about 15-year-old Puerto Rican singer Lisa Velas, who overcomes like sexism, racism, and cancer to become like Latin's pop pioneer. Behind hits like Can You Feel the Beat, inspiring generations of Latin artists. I've always liked Lisa, and I forgot how great she was when I first saw this film. She does some great songs here. The lead actress who plays Lisa, was pretty good. The actress name is, of course, Janess Corgado, I think her name is. I thought she did a really good job here. They actually did include some of her music, which I thought was pretty cool. So, not a bad film worth giving a go. Like, Lifetime movies could be a hit and miss sometimes. This one was their better ones, in my opinion. But all right, number 17 is McVeigh. Now, this is, of course, the haunting thriller based on America's most infamous figures, which is, of course, is the Timothy Timmy McVeigh, who is part of the Oklahoma, yeah, the Oklahoma tragedy. I gotta be careful how I say because you just never know about YouTube nowadays. But you guys know what I'm talking about. The Oklahoma tragedy that happened like in the 90s and stuff. And I thought the guy in this, Alfie Allen, was pretty good as a part. Brett Gelman from Stranger Things. I liked his part here. Really decent. Like it doesn't really showcase what he did and stuff. It's more about his story than anything. I know it was a really decent pretty sad film. Worth I say it's worth giving a go. All right, number 16. 16 and 15 are technically both movies that came out in February, but I didn't really see until March. Number 16 is My Dead Friend Zoe, which is which of course is the Natalie Morris film about U.S. Army Afghanistan veteran who, thanks to the presence of her dead best friend from the Army, is at odds with her estranged Vietnam veteran grandfather and VA counselor. You got Morgan Freeman, Ed Harris. Really nice little film. The chemistry between Martin and Morris was pretty good. Ed Harris was good in this. Really decent film, worth giving a go. Number 15 is Last Breath. Of course, this is about follows a seasoned deep sea diver as he battles raging elements to rescue crew members here. Of course, you have Woody Harrelson, Simu Liu. Really decent story here. The performances by Harrison, Liu was great. The other act, I forgot the guy's name. Joe something. What's his name again? Oh no, Finn Ko. Why do I always keep getting him mixed up with that actor Joe Locke? But Finn Ko was pretty good in this. Really decent little film, worth giving a go. Pretty intense at times. Really decent fun. All right. Number 14 technically is a comedy special. I don't know if they really count as movies, but you know what? I enjoyed it so much, I included this. Bill Burr, Drop Dead Years. If you guys haven't seen his special on Hulu, do yourself a favor, go watch it. It is some Bill Burr, man. I love this guy. Whether he's hosting SNL, F is for Family, Bill Burr is hilarious, and he made some really fun jokes in this. He mentioned about how whenever you go to a funeral you see an open casket. He made a fun joke saying, "I never understood about open caskets. I mean, they're dead. I believe you. I don't know. I just something about Bill Burr, man. It doesn't help how much metal in person." But that aside, Bill Burr is just great. If you guys haven't watched his special here, do yourself a favor. You're missing out. It's hilarious. Alright. Number 13 is Borderline. I almost keep wanting to call this Borderlands. Borderline is, of course, the Ray Nicholson film. It was Samara Weaving. Of course, about a romantic sociopath who escapes from a mental institution and invades a home with this nice pop star. And it's actually a lot of fun. Definitely has a little bit of a Misery vibe, but it's really entertaining. Samara Weaving is great. Ray Nicholson, who's the son of Jack Nicholson, and you can definitely tell it. He is great in this. Jimmy Fails, Eric Dane. It's a really decent fun film worth giving a go. I'd say check this one out. Alright, number 12 is number 12, I'm going to add the little horror film I just saw called simply titled The Rule of Jenny Payne. Now, I just saw this one just recent. It's of course this where confined to a secluded rest home and trapped within his stroke-ridden body. A former judge must stop an elderly psychopath who employs a child puppet to abuse the home's residents. It's got Jeffrey Rush, John Lithgow. It is creepy all around. I mean, John Lithgow, if you always want to see a creepy John Lithgow with a creepy puppet, this is one for you. He is great. Jeffrey Rush is good. Really creepy film worth giving a go. Alright, number 11 is The Lifeless. Nice little film worth giving a go. Starring Sofia Carson, who I'm becoming a fan of this girl. I mean, whether you talk about Descendants, Carry On, Purple Hearts, I would love to see Sofia Carson get more, I don't know, try her hand at more A24 dramatic type stuff. She actually has some potential there. And she was actually pretty good in this one. Of course, you have Connie Brin. It doesn't help it takes place in New York, so I'm a little biased for that one. But of course, it's where her mother sends her on a quest to complete a bucket list. and a young woman uncovers like family secrets, finds romance, and on. Sophia Carson is really good in this. Kyle Allen, Connie Brin was great. Really nice, charming film, worth giving a go. From the director of Definitely Maybe, he did a great job. Definitely give this one a go if you guys haven't seen it. A really nice little charming film, worth giving a go. Alright, now here is my official top 10. Number 10 is The Parenting, which is pretty much like Meet the Parents meets Poltergeist. Of course, we're like boyfriends Josh and Rowan plans like this weekend getaway to introduce their parents, only to discover that their rental is a home to a 400-year-old poltergeist. This thing was pretty fun, really hilarious. Brian Cox was great in this. Parker Posey, obviously Edie Falco, Lisa Kudrow, Nick Dodoni. Some great supporting players. It's a lot of fun. It's really hilarious. If you guys haven't seen The Parenting, do yourself a favor, give it a go. Alright, number 9 is Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Road Trip. Of course, this is based on the very popular book of the same name. Well, not really the same name, but it's based on the popular book of Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Boy, that title is always a tongue twister. But anyway, of course, this is a version with a Mexican family this time around. Where like 11-year-old Alexander and his family embarks on a dream spring break vacation to Mexico City, only to have their plans go terribly wrong when they discover like a cursed idol. You got Cheech Marin, Ava Longoria, Pauline Chavez, from Landman fame. It's actually really it is actually a lot of fun. Really heartfelt here. Great performances by some of the cast members. Really felt like early 2000s. Feels like early 2000s Disney movies. And really brings you back to the Disney movies from the early 2000s. And yeah, it kind of makes me ashamed that Disney does not really do these type of comedies anymore. But really felt like more. Remember that movie RV with Robin Williams? It actually felt more like that in a way. I really got a little bit of an RV vibe here. But if you guys still haven't seen it, definitely give it a go. Alright, number 8 is Mickey 17. Now, Mickey 17 is a really decent sci-fi film with Robert Pattinson. Now, unlike Alto Knights, Robert Pattinson playing multiple characters this works more better than Alto Knights. Robert Pattinson is great. Mark Ruffalo playing like a mix of Donald Trump and Elon Musk was great in this. Toni Collette. I mean, it's definitely has some fun humor to it. It is entertaining. If you guys haven't seen it, I'll say give it a go. You might enjoy it or you might not enjoy it. Either way, it is a decent one worth giving a go. Alright, number 7 is A Working Man. Of course, with Jason Statham as Levon Kay, who, of course, ends up helping his boss track down the people who took his boss's daughter. Jason Statham is great in this. Love seeing Statham do his thing. It's a lot of fun. Great action. David Ayer did a great job here. It's a lot of fun, worth giving a go. Alright, number 6, going to be unpopular, but I don't care what you say what the unpopular thing is not. I mean, I could have been like the cool kids and say this, and just lie saying this, I did not like this, but I'm not going to lie to people. I'm just going to say why I feel. Don't like it, whatever. Number 6 is Snow White. I know, I'm going to hear the comments saying, well, Snow White sucked. Especially from people who probably haven't even seen the movie, but I actually thought it was pretty decent. I mean, yeah, it had some of its problems, like Gal Gadot's Eva Queen. Definitely, me personally, I would have gotten Eva Green. I think Eva Green would have been a better Eva Queen, but if this was a Tim Burton movie, Eva Green would have been cast, but that's just me. Rachel Zegler, I don't care what anyone says, take your hate somewhere else. Rachel Zegler is awesome. I think this girl's a great singer. She was a great Snow White here. And despite the controversy, I do hope she continues, doing more stuff in the future. And I know it's not doing well in the box office, but it is what it is. Not every movie could be hits, so. Yeah, and I actually did quite like The Dwarfs. I don't care what anyone says. The Dwarfs actually worked for me, but I know it's unpopular to say, but it is what it is. Alright, number 5 is Black Bag. Of course, the new Steven Soderbergh film with Michael Fassbender, Kate Blanchett. I actually thought this was a really decent spy thriller worth giving a go. Michael Fassbender was great. Had some crazy. It really left you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end. It's a really decent film worth giving a go. Marissa Abuela from I think her name was Abella or something like who was of course on the show Industry. She is she really plays her part well in this too. It's a really decent film worth giving a go. All right. Number four is Death of a Unicorn. Death of a Unicorn, definitely the better A24 movie on this list. I know Death of a Unicorn was a really decent one. Where like a father and daughter accidentally hit and kill a unicorn, and where like his billionaire boss seeks to exploit the creature's creative properties. I know this was a lot of fun to say the least. Some of the kills was great. Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega was both good in this. It's a really decent film worth giving a go. I loved some of the kills involved. Really entertaining. Number three is Locked. Of course, this is where Bill Skarsgård plays Eddie, who breaks into this luxury SUV, and of course, with no means of escape, he is trapped by William, who's a self-proclaimed vigilante, delivering his own twisted justice here. It's like pretty much phone booth set in like an SUV. It Anthony Hopkins is so creepy in this thing. Bill Skarsgård is great. It's a lot of fun. Leaves you guessing from beginning to end. It's a really decent one worth giving a go. All right, number two is The Day the Earth Blew Up. I really enjoyed this a whole lot. Thank heavily Ketchup Entertainment picked up Coyote versus Acme. Cannot wait to see Wile Coyote on the big screen. But The Day the Earth Blew Up is just amazing. I just adore this a lot. Seeing not Bugs Bunny, seeing Daffy Duck and Porky Pig back on screen was great. Seeing the animation style was terrific. It's just so much fun, so entertaining, cute, charming. I just adore this, and I do hope we see more Looney Tunes in the future. But with Dave Zaza, who knows? And my number one, pretty much my number one favorite movie of March is Novocaine. Novocaine is awesome. Funny enough, Jack Quaid is literally, not to mention, this movie is also in my top 5 favorite movies of the year so far. Jack Quaid's in two of my favorite films of this year. Both this and Companion. So, good on Jack Quaid, right? Now, Jack Quaid I thought was great in this. Emma Dunder, far better in this than she was in Opus. Ray Nicholson, another Ray Nicholson movie in this list. Jacob Batalon. I just had such a fun time with this. It was really fun, original. Jack Quaid, of course, was great. The action, the humor was good. I just had such a fun time with this. It's such a shame didn't do so well in the box office, so I don't know if we're ever gonna get a sequel, but I would love to see more Novocaines, but who knows? Anyway, that's pretty much it. Here is my quick rundown. 35 in The Lost Land, 34 The Alternates, 33 High Rollers, 32 Tyler Perry's Duplicity, 31 The Electric State, 30 Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Death and Porridge, 29 The Woman in the Yard, 28 Opus, 27 Holland, 26 Unbreakable Boy, 25 Bloat, 24 Control Freak, 23 Picture This, 22 Odessa, 21 Plankton the Movie, 20 Popeye the Slayer Man, 19 Chaos the Messimers, 18 Can You Feel the Beat, the Lisa Story, 17 McVeigh, 16 My Dead Friend Zoe, 15 Last Breath, 14 Bill Burr Drop Dead Years, 13 Borderline, 12 The Rule of Jenny Payne, 11 The Lifeless, 10 The Parenting, 9 Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Road Trip, 8 Mickey 17, 7 The Working Man, 6 Snow White, 5 Black Bag, 4 Death of a Unicorn, 3 Locked, 2 The Day the Earth Blew Up, and number 1 Novocaine. Now, again, there are probably some films I was hoping to see this month, but didn't really have a chance to. So if I see them in April or May or whatever, maybe I'll include them on those lists. But, there was some pretty cool stuff this month. So let me let you guys, what were some of your favorite and least favorite movies you saw in the month of March? Drop comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell for more notification. This is Timmy signing.